Alright gang, did you leave your gas in your tank all winter? Well, stale gas can ruin your bike. Don't touch that engine until you watch this. Alright gang, if you left gas in your gas tank all winter long, we need to fix that gas and avoid some costly repairs. We all want a smooth, problem-free start to the riding season, right? Of course we do. So let's talk about how to rescue your bike today. You see, over time, gas degrades sitting in the gas tank. And next thing you know, you've got bad gummy gas creating varnish inside of your tank. And on top of that, moisture is going to build up inside of your tank, and the last thing you want is a layer of water sitting inside your metal tank. That spells disaster and lots of rust. The best way to combat that is to put some stabilizer in your gas tank before you store it for the winter. And winterizing your gas tank, that's a subject for a whole other video, but I'll put a link in the description below and a checklist up here for a good winterizing guide if you guys want to go check that out. Because what the stabilizer does is it prevents that gasoline mixture from separating, so that your gas will last like up to about 6 months. It also has chemicals in it that are going to absorb the moisture out of the air so that you don't get a layer of water in there. But timing is everything. If you didn't put that in there before you started, or if it's been 30 days and you haven't put stabilizer in there yet, it's probably too late. Okay, so you left gas in your tank all winter. Maybe you didn't know any better. Maybe you meant to winterize it and put some stable in there, but you just forgot, or you got lazy. Or maybe you've been deployed overseas for the last 6 months. I don't know, whatever the reason. So now what? And there are a few things that are going to exacerbate the whole gas in your tank over the winter issue. One is, if you've got a pretty big tank, that leaves a lot of gas sitting a little bit longer. Typically bikes with smaller tanks don't have as much of an issue because the gas cycles through the engine a lot more frequently and there's less space for moisture to build up. But either way, if you left gas in your tank all winter, you could have problems. Also, if you live up north and it gets really cold, that could make you more prone to having issues with old gas, because the cold weather prevents the evaporation so that the gas sits there in your tank a lot longer. Also, the general health of your bike, it does matter. I mean, if you've got old cracked fuel lines, or your fuel injectors are already gummed up because you just don't keep them serviced and repaired, or serviced and cleaned, then you're going to be more prone to having issues with old gas or gummy gas. But you know what? It also bears noting right here that if you can get your hands on some ethanol free gasoline, you're probably good to go. You can probably ignore this entire video. It's a little bit hard to find ethanol free gasoline though, because it's an emissions thing. Ethanol is a plant-based biodegradable, I guess you call it, and it's an emissions thing. The government requires a certain amount of ethanol or biodegradables in the fuel for emissions, to pass emissions. But you can still find ethanol-free gasoline around. Usually it's at like marinas for boats, or some gas stations sell it for lawnmowers and other small engines. If you use the app Gas Buddy, I think Gas Buddy's got an option where you can find some ethanol-free gas near you if you want to go that route. And speaking of winterizing, there's a couple of camps here. There's the drain it camp and the fill it to the rim camp. The drain it camp says if you want to be completely safe, you should drain all of the gas out of your tank, out of your carburetor if you have a carburetor, before winter and before you store it for the winter. But me, I'm on team fill it all the way up. And what that means is before you put your bike in a winter storage, you want to fill it all the way to the top, as much as you can. Top it off, then pour yourself some stabilizer in there and close it up for the winter. That way you got stabilized gas in there for the winter season, and you've eliminated all the air pockets in the tank so that moisture doesn't build up and cause you some issues. right, the first thing you're going to want to do, you're going to want to go down to the auto parts store or order it online at Amazon if you want to, and get a can of Syphone. People might look at you funny, you're going to get some strange looks, but just go buy some Syphone. You're going to thank me later. This is your golden bullet for this exercise. All of the scenarios we're about to talk about require Syphone. Syphone is it's an engine additive mainly used for boats that sit in the marina for months at a time not being used, and it's going to clean all that gummy varnish out of there for you. So go get a can. Now, before you go down the arduous road of siphoning gas or doing anything to your bike, if you've had gas in it over the winter time, especially if it's been a short winter, or if you've gotten the bike out and ridden it a few times, we're lucky enough to live in Georgia where it's pretty warm. I mean, it's a famous saying in Georgia that said, if you don't like the weather, just wait a couple days. And that's a true statement. I mean, we're out riding right now and it's February and it's 74 degrees outside. I'm actually sweating right now. So go figure. So first things first, start your bike up. See if it's going to run. See if it's going to start. If it starts up and runs, you may be good to go. You may be able to avoid this entire mess. But you probably still want to pay some close attention here to this scenario. If it's running kind of rough, sputtering, popping, backfiring, whatever it may be, or having a hard time staying cranked, but you've got gas in the tank, just take your handy dandy Syphone, pour some Syphone in there according to the directions, put some new gas in there, just ride it around per normal, you know, don't go crazy on it, just let that gas cycle through there, then go to the gas station, put some new gas in it, put some more Syphone in, then ride through that gas. And you're just going to keep doing that, and it's going to get progressively better as the Syphone cleans all that gunk out of there.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I went on mute again. I muted again.
What?
I muted again. But I heard you. I can hear you, but I can't talk.
That's kind of weird.
Well, I'm on mute so I can record a video. And you're not hearing me talk.
What?
I'm on mute so I can record a video and you're not hearing me talk.
Oh, okay.
Alright, now, worst case scenario here, so let's say you got a full tank of gas, you left it in there all winter, you open it up, you can tell it's bad, it's separated, your bike isn't starting, or it won't stay started. This is your worst case scenario. There's just no way around it, guys. You're gonna have to drain that tank, and once you get the tank drained, if you got a fuel injection system, that's all you need to do. But if you've got a bike that's carbed, you want to drain that carb bowl as well. And I'm not going to go into that. There's plenty of videos on how you can do that. It's pretty simple. Usually there's a little screw that you just turn and it'll drip right out of that nipple. But that's something you definitely want to make sure that anything in the lines gets drained out as well. Once you get all of that stuff drained out of there, you're going to want to pour in some fresh gas, and again, put some Syphone in there per the directions, and then you want to take it out and ride it around. It's probably going to run pretty rough. You're probably not going to get all of the gas out of your system. There's going to be some remnants of that old gas, so just let it sit there and run for a little while in the driveway or the garage before you go out and ride regularly. And then once you've let it run for a little bit, take it out for a ride, run through that gas, and then again, just like the first scenario, you're going to go get you some fresh gas, put some more Syphone in, and just continue to rinse and repeat until all that gummy gunk and varnish is cleaned out of there and your bike is back to running like you know it should. Now, if you've got a carb bike, or if your fuel injectors are all gummed up beyond Syphone's ability to clean them, or if your carb isn't getting cleaned out and your bike's just not getting back to where you know it should be, you may have to take it in to be serviced. And again, that's probably Just another scenario beyond this conversation. You might be looking at some high dollar signs to some replaced parts. Just all the more importance for you to stabilize your gas before you put it away for storage or leave it for long periods of time. Because you're not just preserving the gas, you're protecting your entire engine, your entire fuel system. Now, if you do end up having to siphon that gas out, it's nothing to be scared of. You know, everybody freaks out about, you know, I gotta suck a tube and I'm gonna get gas on my mouth, I'm gonna get sick to my stomach and throw up and stuff. I'm like, no, I'm gonna tell you exactly how to do it. It's super simple. You're gonna go to Home Depot, Lowe's, maybe even Walmart. Gonna get you a 6 to 8 foot piece of clear plastic 1-inch tubing. Okay, you want it to be big. You want it to be a decent diameter, about 1 inch, so that you can see that gas coming into the tube. And what you're going to do is you can put one end of the tube into your gas tank, and then you're going to let the excess hang down to where it's below the gas tank. It's below the level of the gas tank. And then you're going to raise the other side of the tube in your hand up higher than the gas tank. All right? And you're going to put the tube just under the lower side of your index finger, right? Not to the top. You're going to make a circle with your finger, and you're going to grip it really tight and airtight, and then you're going to suck on your hand. You don't suck on the tube. If it's a brand new piece of tube and you know it's clean, you want to suck directly on the tube, go for it. You're not going to get gas in your mouth. But if you got an old piece of tube laying around in the garage or in the tool shed, whatever, just do it like I'm telling you here. And then when you start sucking that gas out, you're going to see it come out of the tank, and it's going to go down into that lower loop, okay? And it's going to sit there in that recess, and you'll see it. And when you see it, stop sucking. You're done. You're done at that point. Now all you want to do is you want to keep that side higher than the tank. Get your gas can. Lift your gas can up to that level, put the tube in there, and then set your gas can down to where it's below the level of the gas tank, and that gas will just start flowing right in there, and it'll continue to flow until your gas tank is empty. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. All right, now let's say you're somewhere in the middle. Let's say you've got half a tank or a little bit of gas in there that you left all winter time. It's not a full tank. You know it's bad gas, but it's not a full tank. You could probably get away with not siphoning that gas out. Now, in that situation, here's what I would do. You put 1 can of seafoam in there and 1 gallon of fresh gasoline. The fresh gasoline and seafoam is going to intermix with all that old gas, and it's going to increase the ignition volatility so that it'll start and burn good. And the seafoam is going to start eating up that varnish and cleaning out the inside of your tank and your fuel system. Just like the previous scenarios, probably going to be running pretty rough, sputtering, hard to stay started, popping and cracking, popping and backfiring, whatever it may be. Just let it run for a little bit until it's idling stable. Even if it sounds terrible, then take it out and ride through that remnant of gasoline in your tank. Then go back to the gas station, put another can of seafoam in there, and 1 or 2 more gallons of gas. Don't fill it all the way up. Just continue to run small amounts of gas with seafoam through your tank until it clears up and starts running like you expect it to. Of any of these 3 scenarios, in most cases, guys, if you follow this, your bike's probably going to come back to life, unless you have an exceptionally bad case. And it does happen. It's happened to me before. You know, I've had periods of my life where I didn't ride very much and I neglected my bikes, and I knew I was neglecting them. I was just lazy, focused on other things in life, new kids, a career. And there was a period where I let my bike sit for 2 years and I didn't ride it, and it had gas in it, and I didn't winterize it. I didn't put stabilizer in there. And when I went to start it back up, finally when I wanted to go ride, yeah, it was a mess. Nothing can bring it back to life. It would start and run, but it wasn't running like it should, and the throttle was stuck. And that's a bad scenario to be in. You twist the throttle back and the throttle doesn't go back to neutral position, you can see how that might be a little bit dangerous. Alright gang, so if you are getting your bike out from winter storage, make sure you check all the other stuff that can be affected by that winter storage as well. You know, make sure your battery is on point, make sure your battery's got a charge, make sure your tires are good, check your tire pressure and your tire wear. And just in general, ride safe out there. And you know what? If you're interested in a stabilizer, Stable seems to be the go-to on the market. It seems to be the best, most commonly used. But there are a lot of them out there on the market. In fact, FortNine's got a good review of all the different stabilizers out there and how they impact gas in various different ways under various different conditions. So I'll link that in the description below if you guys want to go check that out. And while you're here, check out all of our other exciting motorcycle content as well. YouTube's showing you some videos right now you can go check out. Here's one that it thinks you'll like, and then here's another one of ours that I think you'll like. So click on those, and until then, we'll see you in the next one.